Are we running out of water in southern Utah? Southern Utah is experiencing massive amounts of growth. Should we be concerned if we have enough water to sustain this growth? I'm here to share with you some of the facts and debunk some of the rumors that are going around. Today, I interviewed Zachary Renstrom, who is the general manager for the Washington County Water Conservancy District. I thought I would go directly to the source and see where Washington County stands in regards to water. Okay guys, so my first question is, where do we get all of our water from?
Where people get their water from here, we essentially have one primary water source, and that's the Virgin River. And so if we have wells, and that's just essentially where you dig a hole in the ground, you put a pump in the ground, and you pump that water. So we do get a lot of water in our county from wells. We're continuing to drill additional wells, but the majority of our water actually comes from the Virgin River, and that is water that was in the river, and we take that water out of the river and then we store it in Sand Hollow or Quail Reservoir.
Do we have enough water for all of the new construction and growth that we are experiencing today?
So this growth that you see going on in our community right now, that was talked about and planned 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And with water specifically, we look futures in the future, 30 or 40 or even 50 years that we're planning ahead. And so when we see a lot of growth going on right now, that's why I can say confidently that we have water for that new growth that's occurring right now, because the individuals that came before me, they were very wise and good stewards of our water and planning this robust infrastructure. And if it wasn't for that, time and effort and money and blood and sweat and tears that they spent 40 years ago or 30 years ago, if it wasn't for that, we would not be living here today. And so now it's on us to make sure that our future generations also have the same opportunities that were given to us.
Can we use irrigation water to water our lawns?
Some irrigation water you can treat very easily. So up like in Springdale and Rockville in the Virgin River, you can literally take just one of those little camping filters and pump the water and get drinkable water. Well, after it goes through the system, specifically goes past the hot springs or Tempe or Lavercan Springs, it changes the water to the point that if you drink the water, it would kill you. And it's very, very difficult to treat the water.
Is all secondary water like irrigation water the same?
And so in the Washington Fields area, that's the water that they use in all that alfalfa area. They have to flood irrigate it. And the quality is such as so low that it can't easily be converted over to drinking water or even converted easily over to, let's say, putting on grass or people's landscaping. And so it's not as simple as saying, okay, here's an alfalfa field, it's no longer an alfalfa field, it's homes. We just can't take that same amount of water and put it in those homes because of all the problems. Now we are working, and we do have plans to hopefully someday get to that point where we can use some of that water for homes, specifically outside, but it's very, very extremely costly. But at a certain point, we'll have to do that.
Why do you charge an impact fee, and who are those affected by that impact fee?
In talking about impact fees and the costs associated with that, we recognize, it's a lot of money, but when we connect a new home to our system, that's the impact. In fact, according to our impact fee study, we could actually be charging a lot more. And so we always, I say we, the board and the water district and the cities, there's always that balance of, with a new home coming on, it's growth. There's going to be more cars, there's going to be more impacts, and so, the sentiment is that new home should pay for the impact on the system. And so the costs, we look at that, and usually it's only about 2%, at least the water district's fees, about 2% of that cost of that home. With the rapid increase of pricing of the homes recently, I think it's less than that now. So, but we do consider it, and we are concerned about that. And I'm also concerned about how it will be escalating here in the future. It's always one of those things we don't want to price people out of the market, especially the people that struggle to get into that first home. I'm very sensitive towards that, and so is the board, about how can we make affordable housing. But yet, there's still an impact on the system.
Where does the money go that is collected from the water impact fee?
Utah state law is very strict about how impact fees are spent and on what we can spend them on. So we actually, before we can charge an impact fee or spend money on projects, the water district has to go out and have a study done. And it talks about what the appropriate amount of the impact fee is and we also talk about which projects we want to spend the money on. That is put out for public notice where anybody in the community can come and comment on it. Multiple times we'll have people come in and want to look at the study, and we're happy to provide it for them. It's even on our website where they can look at that. And so Utah state law says that I can only spend money on those specific projects. If we want to add a project to that impact fee, then we have to go through that public notice again and go through the engineering again to determine that yes, that is a project and that it's a project needed for new growth. And so if there's an old pipe in the ground that needs to be replaced, I can't spend impact fees on that pipe. I can't spend money on impact fees on like environmental projects. So we spend millions of dollars a year on environmental issues and watershed protection. I can't use impact fee on any of that. I can really only use those impact fees on specific projects. So like with the water tank that we're building out at Warner Valley, that's a 3 million gallon tank, and we are using impact fees to pay for that tank because that was what the engineers determined was needed for the growth. And so they calculate it, and that's the money we collected for it. Now we're spending that.
How do you and the cities located in Washington County work together to protect the future of southern Utah while maintaining the growth that we are experiencing?
Washington County and St. George City, we're accused of being the worst water wasters within the United States. And it's very frustrating because we're not. We actually do a really, really good job here. Part of the reason why there's a discrepancy among numbers that you free from state to state is that they measure water differently. And that may sound kind of funny because a lot of people think, well, a gallon of water is a gallon of water, but it's the method in which they use it. And so Utah uses a very, very broad stroke to account for every drop of water. So for example, if water is evaporated off our reservoirs, we account for that water as water use, where most states don't do that. Secondary watering systems, so like for our irrigation canals and all that, we account for that water, other states don't. And so it's very difficult. So numbers are thrown around a lot, and there's so many problems with those numbers. I don't think that they're very good numbers to use. Even the EPA criticizes those, but yet that is the thing that I hear over and over and over again from people outside our community, that we're in love with our lawns, we're in love with just wasting water. But you drive around our community, and we're really doing a really good job. The city of St. George has just taken some really aggressive steps to remove, non-functioning grass or lawn. And so I think we've done a lot. We're going to do more, and I think that is the biggest misconception out there about water.
As we continue to grow, we need to protect the precious water that we have. To me, that means being more responsible about water conservancy and using the technology that's available to conserve water. There are many ways to make our homes here in southern Utah more effective in conserving water. What are your thoughts on how, as a community, we are doing in water conservation?